Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Nufia Rohmatul Isnaini. I'm from chemistry A. This is about my summary. Sampling strategy, analyte contamination, and contamination of reagents. Number one, sampling strategy and its preservation. Sampling strategy and its preservation. Sampling is a collection confined volume of a water body to be studied, with the smallest possible amount but still representative and still has all the same characteristics as the water body. Example of the water that must be controlled are office water, bedroom water, and dialysis water. Sampling or sampling is divided into three, namely, number one, representative sampling, number two, transport and sample preservation, and then number three, chemical analysis of samples. Preparation of sampling and preservation. The bottle used must be clean, rinsed with distilled water, followed by the liquid to be used to fill the water and dry. Distilled water is distilled water because the mineral is smaller. Contaminant from contaminant from metal or sampling equipment that can dissolve in the sample must be prevented. Iron, brass, bronze can be dissolved in acid or basic water. Wheel plastic and rubber material can be dissolved in industrial wastewater containing organic solvent or oil and gasoline. Samples can be taken separately using a bucket, plastic or glass bottle, a bonnet, and weight like a lead tying around its neck. Tied with a rope, then put into reverse, canal, well, and so on. Take sample at a contained depth. Number one, a closed bottle is provided, which can open when it reaches the desired depth. Number two, another way is to use a kind of pump that sucks. Number three, automatic sampler is a special tool for consecutive sampling consisting of suction tip. Limited sampling point depth of about 5 meters, brought by the tool. Pump, the control, the sampling frequency. Number four, a tool for dividing sample into bottle format sample, namely isothermic box which contain bottle of nice sample bottle with cooling by ordinary ice or dry ice, so that sample preservation can be carried out no later than 1 day before being brought to the laboratory. The samples should be filled to the brim with the collection bottle, and the vial should be tightly closed to avoid contact with air. One common way of preserving sampling is cold atmosphere. Samples are transported in an isothermic box containing ordinary ice or dry ice, CO2, and then stored in the refrigerator or freezer. Disturbance that may arise during storage and transport of samples. Gases as O2 and CO2 can be absorbed by the sample water or can disappear for the sample water in the air. Suspended and colonial substances can form their own flock and precipitate so that the sample becomes several with the original state. At least, the slopes should be resuspended evenly before analysis by saying the deposit bottle. Like substance and liquid, mud, grease, and oil can float on the surface. Some solutes can be oxidized by dissolved O2 so that is thrown in the compound. The method of preserving sample depends on the analysis to be carried out and the element to be studied. Number 2, analyte contamination. Analyte contamination. Contamination is defined Contamination is defined as the entry of unwanted compound in the sample during the sample pre-treatment process and during analysis. Source of contaminants in samples can come from the atmosphere, operator, equipment, water, and reagents. And then number 1, atmospheric contamination come from particulate trace element on the soil surface and suspended material in the atmosphere. The simplest way to avoid atmospheric contamination of the sample is to cover the sample solution during the preparation and analysis process. Number 2, operator contamination. Analysis can be a source of contamination of the sample to be analyzed either through direct contact or through the air. NaCl can be transferred to the sample via the operator switch. Dust and cigarette smoke are sources of metal contamination, which can contaminate the analyte, namely powder, perfume, lotion, including clothing and other shoes, can affect the source of contamination. Human skin has been reported to contain metal even in very low concentration. Laboratory should glove masks is usually worn to reduce contamination. And number 3, equipment contamination. Glasses. Glass in analytical chemistry mean borosilicate glass such as pyrex. Unless otherwise specific, contamination of samples from glass is usually caused by attack or dissolution of the container by solutions such as halogen or strong acid. Pyrex is resistant to weak acid and base, but least strong to strong acid and strong base. For the analysis of Si, Al, Na, and K should not use Pyrex. HSG glass or menstrual silica glass is resistant to solution attack and heat up to 9,000 degrees Celsius. Anticipation of contaminant from container, namely resin glasses using a 1 mixture of concrete and concrete H2SO4 and HNO3 is better than a mixture of Cr2O7 and H2SO4. In order to keep glass contamination to a minimum, the anticell should always be stored under immersion in a dilute solution of a less 0.1 molar HCl or HNO3 when in gas. HCl on HNO3, it can be used to clean the surface of the glass from metal. The other preparation equipment that is often used has a lower probability of metal contamination error. Number one, fused silica quartz can be used at high temperature and is safer from metal contamination. Number two, plastic, polyethylene, and polypropylene. Number three, Teflon. Number four, PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Number five, rubber. It is advisable not to use rubber equipment in the trace analysis. Rubber contains some additives such as zinc oxide, antimony compound, and BB compound. And then number six, dry paper, contain a number of metal with varying content. Number four, this is a contamination from water. Contamination from water is used in very large quantities compared to reagent whose ratio is greater than 100. So special attention needs to be paid to the purity of the water used, especially in trace analysis. To reduce metal contamination in water, we space into the anion exchange resin column at least 2 times distillation. And number three, contamination of reagents. Contamination of reagents is grouped into four, namely, number one, mineral acid and ammonia. Mineral acid most contain certain metal. Extra-pure acid contains very low level of metal. Ultra-pure contains fairly low metal concentration, but the content of some elements varies from product to product. Analytical reagent grade acid contain metal as listed in table. Ammonia placed in the glass bottle will be contaminated with silica, aluminum, calcium, and other elements that may be caused by attack by alkaline solution on the glass. Analytical reagents, ammonia can contain moderately low concentration of heavy metal. This is probably caused by the absorption of the metal by the glass. Number two, inorganic solids. Of reagents, quality are usually sufficiently pure to be used directly without pre-purification, but a blank control solution must be prepared. PB is a complex metal that is important in metal content usually found in solid KCl and AgL and H4NO3 and KNO3. Analytical reagents range from 0.1 to 0.3 ppm. Purification is usually by crystallization or filtration. Number three, that organic reagent containing metal that are coordinated in coordination with this metal are usually therefore solvent or reagent used in the synthesis of reagent. Organic reagents are usually used in small quantities so that contamination can often be neglected. That caution is necessary, for example, by using the reagent as a blank. And then number four, organic solvents. The metal content in organic solvent is usually relatively low. The thing to watch or for is the presence of other organic compounds dissolved in the solvent because they usually interfere with spectrometric determination. For example, if left unchecked, CCl4 and CHCl3 will produce CO2 from oxidation, which will interfere with metal determination by the division method. So, and last, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.